Welcome to the Why Music podcast, where we talk to independent artists about their journeys, the inspirations behind their music, and ultimately why they make music. This next act is a Stamford-based four-man rock band, already taking stage with some of the big names in the game. They've already been making waves with only their first record under their belts. Welcome, Soft Spot.
Hey, what's going on? Thanks for having me. Well, us, I guess.
Us in spirit, right? I always like to start with where your journey and then also where the band's journey kind of all began.
Yeah, so I mean, I started the first time I really I think knew I wanted to play music. I was like 15 years old and I really before that my mom had tried to get me to play guitar, but I wasn't really like actually like sticking with it. I'd like F around and try to make noise or whatever, but I wasn't really learning anything, of substance. So then like when I was 15, me and my cousin, it was Thanksgiving, and we were just like talking about we were playing like Guitar Hero, and we are like, we should start a real band. Why don't we do that? And we are like, yeah, sure. So then he learned drums. Well, not really, but I learned guitar and he tried to learn drums, and then we were like trying to do some stuff together, and then that kind of like eventually led me to in high school, like I think a year later I did the Battle of the Bands. I just a couple kids in my class, I asked if they wanted to do Battle of the Bands, and we ended up winning, and then everybody went off their separate ways, and we didn't never got back together to make any music together. Then I played the band in college, and then when I got out of school, I was like really looking for people to make music with during like the heat of the pandemic. And I had a drummer who I had been playing with in a different band beforehand. We were playing like a hardcore punk band. And then I met Dave, our bass player, who's our current bass player now, and he filled out our sound. I mean, he added the low end, the bass and stuff, and he just from then, like that's kind of where Soft Spots started, was when we eventually found Dave, but then ended up our drummer from the original drummer ended up leaving, and then my buddy Mark, who's our current drummer now, he came back home from Philadelphia. He was living in Philly, moved back to Stamford, and we had jammed in high school together. But he had never really played in a band. He was played marching band, so this was like his first like band, and like we really threw him to the fire. I mean, for real, like threw him to the fire, and he's come such a long way since then, and I appreciate his like effort and like want to do it, because it's it takes a lot of effort, when you are kind of like thrown into a band for the first time, like when we're already playing shows, we're already trying to in the middle of recording music and stuff. So but he's like coming to the fold big time, so I really appreciate him doing that, and then we were a three-piece for a while, and we ended up finding our fourth piece, Will, who plays in another band called Drink Baby. We played with them a bunch of times and stuff, and he just hit me up one day and was like, "Hey, if you ever need somebody else to play some songs, or fill in." We had a different guitar player we were working on who ended up not working out either, and he said, if that doesn't work out, like let me know. I'd love to give it a shot. So he came to practice, and that was probably like November. So we've been playing with him since November. So he's really balanced out the sound and has just like added that extra um layer that we've been trying to like get live, that we have recorded. So it's he's definitely filled it out, and I really I love how we've come into that. Like we just he came after our first album, so we just put out our new EP. But honestly, it came at the right time, because we went on the road in March, and he got to play with us, and we got to put out like play all these new songs to all these new people in the way that like I wanted to be represented. So yeah, I really appreciate that. And but yeah, I think that's kind of how we all came together.
Yeah. I mean, that's kind of a flex to like just throw a band together and then win Battle of the Bands. Like, and then for nobody to stick around and like do the band thing, that's crazy.
Yeah, we had like one like a 4 hour recording session that I didn't even we never even used, and I was like, imagine we like wrote some bangers. No, but yeah, nobody stayed around. I don't even think I've talked to any of those dudes since then.
It's funny how that just kind of happens, and then you stumble into this group of guys, and you're all still doing it. Some obviously have been around longer than others, but
Yeah.
just kind of. It's always interesting to hear how bands form. I've had ones on here say that they like met on Craigslist, and it's just like I don't know what we're doing looking for bass players on Craigslist, but if it works, I guess, right? So. No, but that's awesome. So then what is the like writing process like for you guys? Is it collaborative? Is it somewhat individual? Does it change depending on the time?
Yeah, so I think now more so we're kind of getting into like music collaboratively, especially like me and Dave, the bass player. Um, a lot of times I do just kind of write chord progressions and then I'll like write the words to it and then I'll pitch it to them to the band and we'll come down to practice and I'll be like, "Hey, I got this new song and I'm going to throw it at you and we're going to figure it out here." And that's how a lot of it kind of when it first started. Now I don't have maybe as many ideas. When I like kind of come up with a song and it all comes together, it's like, I know that I really want to kind of use it and put it out and stuff, but it doesn't always happen. So I'm open to more collaborative stuff and Dave kind of brings a lot of stuff to the table and he'll bring some chord progressions. I write all the lyrics, but um sometimes Dave will come with a chord progression and stuff and he'll say like let's kind of jam on this and we'll just play around with it and I'll write the words to it. I'll like either we'll be like we want to record it or we're going to demo it and then we'll demo it out and it like might not have any words for it and then I'll kind of maybe sit there and like listen to it and try to put words to it but a lot of times it's just like I'm jamming on chord progressions and then the words kind of come. It's the music always comes first, the feeling of the song comes first, and then the lyrics definitely come after that. It's like whatever I'm feeling in the moment, I'm trying to like kind of capture in the song. And whatever the song makes me feel, it kind of can take me to a place, take me to like a memory or something. And then I try to kind of like draw it out of that and then put that into the lyrics or like literally put the music into the lyrics and the feeling that I get from the music into the lyrics. But um, yeah, we've definitely gotten a little bit more collaborative with our music making and sound making. Lyrics are tough. I don't know if anybody in the band wants to kind of touch on that, so I really just am the only one who got it. Sometimes I might be like, "Hey, I can't think of anything," and um, see if anybody has any ideas or anything. But yeah, a lot of times they kind of just like leave me to it.
It's interesting that you come at it from like the music first. I know everybody's approach is always kind of different, but like for me it's like I can't do it unless like I can't have a full thing fleshed out and then go to words because I'm just like I can't keep with the like it just always kind of like forms together. So like I think it's really interesting and probably provides a really unique result with the fact that it's like we have all of it and then there's words. Like it's like the whole idea is there and it's like the feeling and everything because it's I feel like sometimes I feel like and again this could be just me but like it's like I feel like translating words into music almost like you're like, if it's sadder or angrier, you lean minor and like with these weird like chords and things. And then like, so it's directing it that way. But like doing it the other way around is like, it's interesting because it's just like, how do you, like, you really have to, and I feel like that probably also makes the music more just automatically emotive because it's like you're pouring all of that into it to begin with, and the words are just supposed to like make that make sense. You know what I mean? Where it's like you took the words out of my mouth kind of thing.
Yeah, for real. Yeah,
It's
I really know I like a song when like I can kind of get it. I'm like working on the chord progression and then the lyrics kind of come out in kind of like a freestyle like thing
hmm
almost like you're kind of just
Yeah.
spitballing things happen and kind of just go into place and I really love songs like that. I wish I could do all my songs like that. Those are really kind of hard to come by but when they do I know it's a special one, but
hmm
not saying that the other ones aren't special and stuff, but if you're like sometimes it's like almost like you're like a musical medium trying to like, pull out the
Right.
sounds out of the, the ether.
Right. And then like get them down and like remember them before they're just like gone. Because it's always like they come and then the next thing you know, they've just vanished.
Yeah, 100%. No, I literally try to get my phone out to record that stuff. I'm like, I put it on my voice memos. I make sure I have a notepad so I write it down.
Right.
Like, I will write lyrics in my phone if I think about them, but I love writing down my lyrics. Like, I really
Mm.
it just makes more sense in my head. I think I can like kind of like see it a little bit better when I get to like write it down and think about it like that.
I wish I did more of that. It's just, yeah. But and the other thing is like if you go just to sit down to write, it's like you can't sit there and record like the entire thing because then you got to go back through all of that. And it's like, well, most of this was just nonsense.
Yeah,
I'm gonna
literally.
mine through all this for like the couple good like nuggets of ideas that I maybe had. So, but yeah, it's always interesting to hear how different people write and approach like crafting a song because again, I feel like it's not as common, but then also just like makes it even more cool that it's like you guys go music first and then lyrics just kind of, are there to match. Because
Yeah,
then, yeah, then it's like automatically just, I feel like packaged in the right way. Because the words are made to match that rather than
yeah.
the other way
Really.
around. So, um, if you had to create a new genre around your style of music, what would it be called?
Um, you know, all these terms like new gaze and grunge gaze and space rock and whatever and stuff, it's like I think that we're like space grunge, and I don't think that exists. All those other things that I said, I guess do exist, and to somebody. Um, but yeah, I think space grunge, I think we like I'm in the middle of writing a space song because I said to somebody once they were like, "Oh, how do you describe your sound?" I'm like, "I don't know. We're like alternative rock. We're kind of like space rock." And they're like, "Well, do you have any space songs?" And I was like, "You don't have any space songs." I was like, "You're dang right." So I've been working on a space song. So we're playing at a festival July 11th, um, and I want the song. I want us to debut the song at the festival. I don't know if it's gonna happen because like I'm a little behind the ball. And I've been working on it. It came into my head like maybe like September, and I was in Italy actually, and I was feeling very inspired because I don't ever get to go on vacation. Like when we go on tour and stuff, and I love going on tour. I love getting to see new places, but it's tough to like you really enjoy yourself and like I mean it still is work. Like I love it and it's doesn't feel like work, but like we're still kind of like we're driving hours. We're got to load our equipment in. We got to play the show. We got to load our equipment out. We got to do all the things that come with that. Talk to people, whatever, sell our merch and stuff. But I it was really nice to be able to have a vacation because then I got to like feel like just completely reset and inspired almost, like super inspired. So I was like hearing songs in my head all the time, hearing lyrics. And so I had this melody um, in my head and I was like kind of, and then I was like, had these words and I was like, oh man, I gotta like sing this into my phone. So then I sang into my phone, got back home, and me and Dave started working on it. And then we've had a lot going on. We had our EP come out. We've been on 2 tours now this year. Um, and we're working on other songs and stuff. So it's just like kind of hard to get back to this song, but I said we were gonna debut it July 11th at Shoreline Festival, but I still would like to, but I don't know, I'm behind the ball. I think if I just really like kind of get at it. The thing is, I like working on stuff a little bit longer now because I feel like I would push stuff out fast because I wanted stuff to come out and just, be like, instead of sitting on things. But now that I feel like we're comfortable with like the songwriting process and the music making process, I can kind of sit with a song and make it what I want instead of like writing a song, just saying screw it and then like putting it out and because, you want it to be out. I want the like to get into the minutia of it. And that's what we've been kind of doing. So, we have a verse and a chorus. I just kind of need another verse and maybe some other stuff, with it too. So it's all there, but it's not really. So, I would love for us to play July 11th. But yeah, I would say space grunge would be the new genre. I don't think that exists. And if it does, darn, we're behind the ball.
Well, if it does, you just got to throw another word in the mix and then it'll be new again. That's kind of how it all works. It's like let's just throw another word in front of pop. Let's just throw another word in front of rock and then it's like a whole new thing and it's so it does, the genre thing is a whole thing. But
Yeah, genre. So it's like you could literally say whatever the heck you want.
yeah. Right. Right. And you don't necessarily, I feel like, have to have a space song if you're space grunge. Like if you have elements of both in a song, then I think we're okay.
It's fair. Thank
I
you.
think we're okay.
Word for that. If anybody tells me otherwise, and be like, screw you, man.
I have someone that will say otherwise. I got your back. Don't worry. Um, is there a song that you've written that you think is the best embodiment of who you guys are as a band?
Um, wow. I think that there are songs, and there's definitely a song that embodies us pretty well, but I think definitely in the last like year we've been I mean, the last few years we've been honing in on our sound, but I think the last year we've really figured out like what we are, who we are, what we can make, what we want to make. And so I think that there's definitely some songs I'm working on now that might embody that a little bit better, but I think Down is a good representation. It kind of like has the whole feel of what I want Soft Spot to kind of feel like and sound like, and it's emotive. The lyrics are a little emotive and tender. The soundscape is, layered, and the choruses get pretty heavy, like we put our fuzzes on, we all put our fuzz on, all guitars and bass and stuff, and the drums get a bit heavier too. And I like the ebb and flow of that kind of like soft to heavy to soft to heavy. I mean, this EP we just put out is a little heavier than our first record. But it's like we're exploring, we're playing with stuff. It's like the next Soft Spot EP or album could be, something completely different. Maybe not completely different, but like just different than what you would expect, and always try to keep them guessing a little bit. But yeah, I think Down's a good embodiment and representation of what Soft Spot is.
I kind of surprised at myself that I haven't asked this, but you said it, and so I was like, oh, I forgot. I always like to ask bands where the name comes from.
Oh yeah. So we had a different name beforehand, and we were gonna change it, and we were like thinking about changing it for a while, and I had this whole list of stupid band names that I come up with. I still have a list that I add to all the time of silly, stupid band names and stuff that will never happen, but would be nice. But um, we talked about a lot of stuff, and I now I can't even remember the beginning of the like the name call. So I was gonna change it. So I really like a band called Narrowhead, and I think I was just kind of stuck on their name a little bit maybe. And I was like, oh, we're like real sad. We're like sensitive. I was like, what about a sensitive head? And then somebody was like, a sensitive head like a penis, and I was like, okay, thank you. Uh, it's totally not even anywhere close to what I was thinking about. Um, and then Dave said, well, babies have soft spots on their sensitive heads. And I was like, bingo. So we became soft spot from that. Stupid, I feel like it's mostly that, there's never a like great story where like we found it from the tops of the mountains.
No,
We
but I think it's definitely better than Sensitive Head.
100%. I just like sometimes you get lost in the sauce and you're like
Yeah.
vision.
I wouldn't have necessarily jumped to that conclusion, but once you hear it, I feel like you can't unhear it. And I feel like also Soft Spot has like a good ring to it.
Yeah.
So I think things worked out properly for
Yeah.
that.
I think that it kind of does go along with the music too, but it also is like a little bit of a curveball because people are like soft spot. They expect like maybe a pop band
Hmm.
or like indie, kind of project. They're not really expecting like sort of like a rock band or an alternative rock band or whatever the heck we are.
Hmm.
Uh, so I think that is kind of cool because then people are a little, they're like, I seen your name and I had to look you up and listen to you. Like people come to the shows and they'll be like, and I had to listen to you because I wanted to know what you sound like and different than what I would have thought, but it was really good. So that's pretty cool. You throw them off your trail and, people do kind of like, I don't know. I guess there is a little bit of a like mystery to it. So people do kind of look into it a little bit.
Yeah, and I definitely think that I would have expected maybe something with a little bit more of a pop flavor to it. I don't think you're wrong about that. I also think that like it still is fitting in its own way because it's like if you're saying, your music's more like sensitive and everything, it's like, well, it has a like softer spot within the music. It just might not be the like way that it's packaged. It's more so just like the lyrics, if you will, that are translating that maybe a little bit more. So, but yeah, I think it's definitely a memorable name, and I feel like it's probably even more memorable that you like think people would think this, but you give them this. Um, like think if like I'm trying to think of an example of like if Metallica made like bubblegum pop, like that just a name like Metallica goes hard. Like that's not gonna be some like Megan Trainor stuff. Like that's just not that would completely throw people off.
Yeah, totally.
Um, so
Gizzard and the Lizard Wizard was like a jazz band. Well, I guess they do play some jazz, but if they were like a, yacht rock band or something, you're like,
mhm.
what the heck?
Yeah, there's a lot of, I mean, you never really know and you can't judge a book by its cover. You can't judge a band by their name, I guess.
There you go.
So, um, if you had to pick two or three artists that you think your music is like a combination of, who would it be?
Um, I would have to say, so big time influences on us, are Alice in Chains, Hum, and I would either as a third band either do like Super Heaven or, um, yeah, I would think actually those three bands sound pretty good. Yeah, Hum, Alice in Chains, and Super Heaven. All kind of grungy, kind of spacey, um, effect heavy rock.
Are there specific aspects of any of those bands that like you guys feel like you like embody a certain element of?
Um, it's tough because like I feel like I love Alice in Chains so much, and they're like to me such a perfect band. Because I think like lyrically they're really good, guitar wise they're really good, harmonies, the vocals are really good. Like Jerry and Lane do a really good job at harmonizing and stuff. And I think we're working to that and getting, like kind of honing in on those things that make those bands really good. We got some harmonies going in this EP. Like before, we didn't have any harmonies. Now I have our new guitar player Will, who is a good vocalist. He's in a band. So like he's the singer of his band, and so it's like I'm now trying to write some songs with harmonies and um, but it's tough. Yeah, I think all those bands kind of to me um have like peaked at their like genre wise. Like I actually got to go see Hum a month ago at Slideway Fest in Brooklyn, and they haven't played for a few years. And I didn't think they would ever play again. But their live performance was so freaking good. I mean, it was like you could tell that they are like the masters of their crafts because the way that they play is just effortless and it sounds really good and I mean, it's heavy, it hits you hard. I think Super Heaven's a little bit like more. Um, I don't want to say like they're not as polished, but they're definitely a little bit like I guess less um polished than like Alice in Chains and Hum in some ways that I think that we do kind of embody a little bit more of that like super heaven sound and stuff and just I think overall the way they capture their sound and emotion I think we kind of um hit kind of a similar line. I feel like Alice in Chains is tough because they're just all over, like all around, really so great. You know, I mean, to me at least, like I think they're just so great and are masters of their crafts and stuff. So it's hard to, I feel like, pull out for us stuff like that from Alice in Chains or Hum. But I think yeah, Super Heaven's more, I think, on the lines of us sound wise.
Yeah, and I mean, you said like they all kind of have their space piece and their grunge piece, which falls in line with what we were just talking about and everything. So, um, yeah, it's sometimes hard to be like, well, I feel like there's this aspect of what we do that comes from these guys because it's like, again, with the genre thing, it's like everything kind of falls slightly in a different spot on the scale from one thing to another. So it's very hard to, every song is different. So it's, yeah, it's a complicated answer.
Definitely.
This is the point in the podcast where I take a question from the previous artist for this week's artist. And the question from the previous artist is, has there been a time where things went so wrong that it actually worked out and went right?
Oh, uh,
Deep, deep thinker.
deep thinking. Um, well, so we got to play. So people who are Connecticut people, and even people who aren't Connecticut people might know this place, but one of our most legendary venues is called Toad's Place, and a lot of awesome bands have come through, played Toad's Place, and legendary bands. I mean, it's been around since like the 60s and the 70s. So I mean, it has crazy history. We got to play Toad's Place in February, and I'm like super stoked because it's this like legendary venue. I didn't think that at this point of our musical career that we'd get to play Toad's Place. So I was like, I mean, crazy stoked from when we found out about it, and even just the day of, and then the day of, I'm thinking, I'm like, it would be so funny if my pedal board didn't work, which is not a thought I ever have, ever. It's not like even something that I think could be remotely possible because I'm like, we practice a lot. I always make sure my pedal board's in working order. I always make sure my cables, even before the set, like everything's working and stuff. And it was we didn't have a sound check either because we were I think we went on second. It was a four-band bill, and we the first band got a sound check and the last band got a sound check, and then I mean we might have got like a little bit of a line check, but we had no sound check. So I'm like, it'd be funny if we didn't get a sound check and my pedal board didn't work. Ha 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 ha. So this is a thought I had early in the morning, which I mean I already screwed myself. But we're all set up, we're about to start our song, and I like go to hit my guitar, and it was like making noise. I go to hit my guitar, and I'm getting no signal at all, like nothing. And so I'm like, oh, this is the coolest thing ever. So I start to sweat because I'm like, I mean, I got freaking lights on me too, but I'm like, you're in the moment, and you're like, nothing's going on. I'm like, I could be freaking out and like getting mad and like, screwing myself over really, but I'm like, I'm gonna keep it cool. I'm gonna try to figure out like what's wrong with my pedal board, and I'm just like pulling out cables. I'm like trying to like put cables in, put the plug the stuff back in together and stuff, and so like it's just not working. And I finally get the idea. I'm like, well, what if some of my pedals work? Because I didn't want to plug directly into my amp. It just like I didn't want to do that. I have 12 pedals on my pedal board, and I use all of them. Um, and so I was like, well, what if I could just get my tuner, compressor, and my distortions? This is like 10 minutes into this, me shuffling around trying to get it. On like the biggest stage we've probably got to play at that time, you know? So, and I mean, I've got like, it's a pretty packed crowd. So I got a lot of people just like staring at us. And I'm like, there's no house music. I'm sweating like crazy. And, I'm just like, whatever. Maybe I can get my distortions to work. So I plug my, instead of having my like 12 pedals, I plug into like only four pedals, and somehow I'm getting a signal. So I don't know if I was like, it was a power issue or something, or, but, so yeah, so I like plugged into my distortions. I have reverb on my amp head, so I put the reverb up on my amp head, started playing, I was like, all right, we have to cut 2 songs, unfortunately, but we're gonna, we had 5 songs that we got to play, and I thought they were 5 really great songs, and I could have been like pissed off, and even when we first started, kind of like been in a mood or whatever, and it's like there's no reason for that. There's no reason to let anybody else kind of like see that or get that, out of us, because it's like it'd be their first time probably seeing us too. I had a lot of friends too that were there, so it's like people, you know um, were there to see us and stuff. But it just, I felt it really kind of turned out to be a really fun, awesome set. And even though I was kind of like embarrassed and it was totally like the worst thing that could have happened, I think it did kind of like go over super well because we won over the crowd. I mean, the crowd could have totally like not been into it, but like everybody's moving for our songs, and it was really cool. It was like such a fun show. I was kind of defeated in the moment, but it's like if it's not over and it's not the end, you're not dead. You're not like done.
Right.
You can fix it. I mean, I didn't have any like tech dudes or the sound guy come over and help me, which I was hoping like maybe he could like I don't know what else he would do or be able to do, but I'm like there by myself, like kind of like messing around with stuff, just hacking the mainframe and figured it out. And I thought it was a really good set. Yeah, I mean it could have been a disaster, but it ended up kind of being a blessing. And because I think now too I'm pretty adamant about like at least getting like a little bit of a sound check or something to like, or like plug into my pedal board beforehand or something to like make sure that I don't have the same problem.
Right. Well, and I don't think that I would have even thought, like, I would have thought, okay, the thing doesn't work at all. Like it's all, to me, it'd be all or nothing. I'm like, it's like, I wouldn't even have the thought that like a few of them might work. Like, it's also, I find it really funny that you would like, in a way, almost like manifested that the morning of. Like, this is the time that we should really be like thinking about the worst. It's like, this is like a great opportunity. Like, this is when we decide, huh, I wonder if this is going to happen. Yeah, I mean, props to you for handling that. I don't know what I would have done. 'Cause it's, yeah, like I wouldn't have even thought that, you know, if all don't work, I would have just assumed all doesn't like, yeah, no, that's silver lining of it all is it still shook out the way it needed to. So
Yeah,
that's
yeah.
a win is a win.
But as a win is a win.
What is your question for the next artist?
So I guess like maybe at this point in your career, is there anything that you would change to, make anything different or yeah, is there anything in your career right now that you would change um, that you could have done in the past to like change your future or whatever? Does that make sense?
Yeah, change about what you did in the past to change the future. I like that. Um, what is it that you think sets you guys apart from other independent artists and bands?
Um, I think I mean, not that not everybody loves music and loves doing what they do, but I think like us four individuals, like we really do kind of like live and breathe music. I mean, we have our day jobs and stuff, but those are like almost secondary. We love playing music so much and getting to play shows and record music. And, um, I think um, it's tough to kind of go on the road and it's tough to book shows, but it's also tough to make time away from family, from work, from making money, to really be out on the road and live your dreams and stuff. But I think we're, out there kind of really doing it and putting a lot of our effort and lives into making music. And I love music so much, and I don't see myself really doing anything else like in my life. Um, you know, with as much substance as kind of that I have and get from music. And I just think that it's such a beautiful thing, you know. It's like, and it's such a privilege to be able to play and to just make music with my friends and people who want to make music and stuff. But yeah, I think we, you know, I think we were out there kind of like really doing it, playing shows and putting all our, you know, effort and love and everything into, you know, this thing. And not that, you know, other people and everybody isn't doing similar and stuff, but I truly feel that we're really, you know, putting all into it and you know, like, truly all gas, no brakes, like, and that's kind of how it's been for the last few years. Um, you know, so we've been trying to move it along, and it's cool to see where things started and where they're at now and stuff, you know, because it is a testament of the time and the love you put into it. And also, like, it's important to connect with people and to like talk to people who come to see your show, or even people who maybe didn't even come to see you or whatever, you know. It's like important to like make those connections and stuff, you know. It's like when we would play shows where there'd be like a couple people early on, and it'd be like, kind of, how do I get through to people and how do I connect with people, even though there's a few people there and stuff. But it's like all that trial and error gets you, you know, the information that you need and the experience that you need then to like, if you do get faced with a, you know, a few people show again and you're like, well, how do I connect with them? You know, maybe now you kind of have a better idea and understanding of how to connect with them. Because I think even if there are four people there to see you or five people there to see you versus 500 people there to see you, you could still connect with them, and you should kind of try to connect with them, you know. And that's super important, you know, to just get that like level of transparency and you know, human connection. You know, I think it's so important to continuing doing this and making music. And you know, it's, we would not really be able to yeah, I mean, we'd be able to make music, but we wouldn't really be able to like go out and play shows if people weren't there to like support us and see us and stuff.
Yeah, no, 100%. And I think what you're talking about with, you know, we all are so dedicated to it. We all live and breathe it. Like, I feel like that's a really important thing for especially like groups to be like universally aligned on. Because I feel like if it's like some of you are like, this is everything to me, and then there are those that are like, I like playing guitar. Like those two things aren't really gonna like help you. Like when you're on a team of any kind, like everybody kind of has to be on the same page and want the same things to like make those things happen, because otherwise the investment in it is skewed and it's just, you know, you're only as strong as your weakest link, as they say. So like you're only going to go as far as the like least committed guy is willing to go. So had to have all of you have your hearts in it that significantly, I feel like is really important.
Yeah, I mean, and I've played with in a bunch of bands too, where people like, I just like to play guitar, you know, and like, and that's cool, you know, and like we all get to have that and stuff. But it's like, you know, don't, if this is the vision, like, don't muck it up, you know. Don't like kind of like waste people's time, you know. I mean, like,
Hmm.
it's cool to have fun and to do stuff. It's like, but from when we started this, I was like, you know, I played in a couple bands before, but it was like, this was the idea. This is what I want us to do. I want us to play shows. I want us to tour. I want us to put records out, you know, and to have people enjoy it. You know, it's like, I love being a bedroom songwriter and playing my acoustic in my bedroom. You know, I will do that without a camera and a microphone a million times because I just love playing guitar and love playing songs and stuff. But it is very rewarding and fun when you get to have a fun show because people are there and they're into it and they really wanted to see you, and they're like, I heard your song on the on whatever, and you know, saw that you were playing here and wanted to come, you know, see you. Like, we were in Wisconsin, and I didn't think anybody freaking knew us over there. I mean, we played in Wisconsin like for the first time last summer, but we were out to dinner, not dinner, I'm sorry. We were out to like breakfast or lunch. I think it was probably noon, so brunch, I don't know. Not real brunch, not sanctioned brunch, but in between, you know. And so there's a Cracker Barrel next to our hotel. So we were like, oh, we're gonna go, you know, get whatever, go eat. Like, we woke up and our show was that night. And or maybe it was the night before. I don't know, mid the show. But we got a message on Facebook from a couple who saw us at the Cracker Barrel, and we're like, "Hey, didn't want to interrupt your meal. Saw you guys were at Cracker Barrel. Love your music. um, can't wait till you guys come back to Milwaukee or something. Like that was the coolest thing ever because it was just a random interaction, and I got a Facebook message from a random person, who I don't know, and it's just like it's I mean it's rewarding and very cool. Like I was like I wish that they had come up to us and said something, because like that would have been even cooler. But it's just you never know who's going to be into your music. You just kind of have to like throw stuff at the wall, hope that it sticks. And, but if people dig it, awesome. If they don't, I mean, we're going to keep on doing this stuff till, for whatever. Cause I mean, I started playing music because I wanted to like really learn, songs that I liked and stuff, and like, so it just kind of has become a bigger thing. And, I know how much I love it because of, you know, all the stuff that I've put into it and all the stuff that I've gotten out of it and a lot of the friendships and people that I've met through music. It's like I'm not necessarily like would have been a very social person without it, so it's like very cool to get to, kind of go out and play shows and spread your wings a bit.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I think like it's those little moments like the Cracker Barrel thing that are just like that like it's like that would make me feel like I'm like I'd be fine playing to a room with just that couple. Like it's like if that's the impact that we're having here, like that's it's I feel like sometimes people like especially with social media, people get caught up in the numbers of like, oh, like I only got so many different views or like a couple people liked it or anything like that. And I'm like, think about that in like a live setting. Like
Yeah.
if like 200 people saw your video, like that's a lot of people in one room.
Right.
So it's just like, and it, obviously like the impact on you, like personally is so much more live than it is on the internet because you don't know who those 200 people are. They don't have faces to you right now. But, you know, it's quality over quantity,
Totally.
that kind of thing. So, but yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I was actually thinking about that the other day because like I kind of get lost in with I post a bunch on TikTok, but then I'm like, oh man, I only got like 30 likes and a couple comments or whatever. But it's like you keep collecting these people who are watching your stuff, and it's like you don't even have to go play live shows to like collect these people. You're like singularly collecting certain people who now know about you and like your music and whatever you're kind of like putting out on the internet. So like if you might have 100 views today, but if you keep doing it and chipping away, I mean, it's like everything. In a month, in a 2 months, in a year, you're gonna have, maybe 500 people now, like watching and commenting and interacting with your stuff. But also, you then too have to be a bit interactive and kind of like talk to people and, get them to kind of like know you in some way through the internet. And
Hmm.
I was thinking about the other day because it's I was like, man, TikTok, like I only got this many views, but like a year ago when I was posting, I only got like a couple likes. So it's like, it is just kind of doing it like and chipping away and like you're never gonna know what's gonna happen if you don't do something.
Absolutely. Yeah. And it's like every post you make, every show you play, every song you release is like another opportunity to find more people. And like you
Yeah,
said, like those numbers do like compound. Is everybody that's going to see or listen to your stuff like going to be a fan? No. But like that's not why you're making music, like it's not if you make music for the masses, you're making music for nobody. You're
right.
really just kind of trying to find like and the more you put it out there, the more you're getting through, like you're finding more people that maybe it's not for, but you're also then getting closer to the people who it is for. Like I believe that all music, like there's has a home in somebody's ears. It's just a matter of finding whose ears they are. So,
Totally. Well, because you're like you'll either a coworker or a friend or whatever they'll like say like oh yeah I like this and it's like something that you might not have ever thought about listening to or like
mhm.
have no idea, but it does like all music is subjective and serves a purpose for something and somebody. It's like I wasn't ever really like a fan of Oliver Tree, but I think his the way that he like you know he serves a purpose, and his music has a place in people's hearts and lives and memories and stuff with people, and it's meaningful. And it's like art is so subjective that like any of it and all of it should be able to be created. I think AI is bullshit and shouldn't be used. I mean, maybe if you want to ask ChatGPT a question of something, but you shouldn't get your information, or you shouldn't get like, the things out of it. But I think just music's so subjective, service for anything. It's like you shouldn't be a hater on anyone or anything if they're actively like actually doing it. Like Oliver Tree like had a big following and a lot of people really liked him. Like just because his music might be a little silly and fun, like doesn't mean that people should hate on it or whatever. It's like, it serves its purpose. It's for something. It's for somebody. It's like not for everybody, but like there are specific people who, then find that and are like, I really like that, and I didn't have that beforehand with another band or another artist or whatever. And that's why music should just be able to be made. And I think that's the cool thing about it. And the cool thing about art, it's like we get something different out of it from like everybody does.
Yeah, yeah, no, 100%. And it's just like, it's everybody has their different taste. And so it just, yeah, everybody's going to have different art that they like and don't like. And maybe we're going to have things that we didn't think we would like that end up surprising us. And we do have like a soft spot for, no pun intended. But I completely said that just using the phrase. And then I was like, wait a minute. But yeah, like it's, you never, and I also am like a advocate for like, you don't really know if you don't like it until you've like consumed it. So like, let's not say that we don't like it until we like actually know that we don't like it. So, because you never really know. And like, I'm not like, and you don't have to like, just because you don't think that you like a whole genre, doesn't mean that there's not like a pocket of it that you would like. Like there are certain aspects of different genres that I'm like, I do like this and I don't like that. And that's fine. Like we're all, it's open yourself up to different art and different experiences because that's ultimately like how we grow also. Like what we consume, like expanding that is really the only way to like grow. So, yeah.
Well said.
Thank you. What impact do you want to have with your music and with your artistry?
Um, I mean, I think the impact that I try to have, and what we try to get out of our music and stuff is like um obviously like, the like content of the songs are like stuff that we all kind of feel, and at certain times feel and stuff, but it's like, you know, through music, I want people in our music to know that they're not alone in the way that they feel, and the way that they, want to do stuff or whatever. And it's like, I just want to be able to make music and play in front of people. And, I love seeing people's reactions and hearing from people too. And, I think it's super special when you get to, hear what your music has kind of impacted on somebody else, because a lot of the times we're like, oh, I like doing this thing, but I'm not going to let anybody know I do this thing because, I feel embarrassed or I feel a certain way or whatever. And it's like when I first started playing music, that's how I was. I would just like would keep it to myself, or, kind of like just be in my bedroom, kind of like, I mean, kind of, crafting and getting good at your craft and stuff. But, uh, it's cool getting to see how people are affected through your music and the way that they feel about your music and stuff. So, I just, yeah, I want people to know that they're not alone in the ways that they feel or feeling sad and stuff, and that there is a group of people, and there's a venue that you could go to and you could see us, and you can, throw all your inhibitions to the wind and rock out and, have a good time.
We want more Cracker Barrel interactions. That's what we want.
Inter- Sure.
No, yeah, I mean, yeah, like, I know we've been kind of like on and on about this point, but it is like, it's the impact. It's always like the impact that is left on the fan that is then returned as an impact on the artist. Like it's a shared experience and it's a like win-win impact. You know what I mean? Like it's you're benefiting from it because you're connecting with it, enjoying it, resonating with it, whatever. And because, hey, I made this thing that you like because you see yourself in it as well as like that's special because I think people ultimately, like at the end of the day, everybody just wants to be heard, recognized, understood. And so like when you have those moments as a fan or as a musician or band member or artist, like it's it's working both ways. Like it's because I'm seeing myself in the music and you're seeing me see myself in the music. Like it's like, so we're not like, we're really not all that different, right? You know?
Mm, totally.
So, I think that brings us to the final question, which is ultimately why music?
Um, so I've done a lot of stuff. I played a bunch of sports when I was a kid. I tried a lot of things, and you know, I think music is the one thing that I like. Not the one thing, like there's other things that I love, but the one thing that like does I do really love and does give me this like um sense of like self and independence and this freedom to of expression, that I like wouldn't have elsewhere. It's like I grew up, I went to Catholic school from up until I was like 13. And a lot of times I would talk to my teachers or ask questions and stuff. And it always made me feel really stupid and small. And, like I just kind of grew up thinking that that's how it was when you would talk to adults or try to, kind of like speak your mind. You'd, kind of be made into a fool, and um, then I kind of got music and I got to play music. I got to meet people through music. I got to experience things through music. I got to really throw myself to the fire because I I wear the hat of a manager. I like do all the stuff for the band. I book a lot of the shows. I you know um, try to hit up people to either get us our music on something or whatever, or people to listen to our music or whatever. And it's like, I have met a lot of people and learned a lot of stuff through music. And um, it's such a beautiful community, and it's like such a beautiful thing to be able to like, kind of like lean back on if I'm like feeling sad or I'm like truly like not feeling well or like, just depressed or whatever. It's like there's always music to make you feel something. If that is more sad or happy or whatever, it's like a freak what you feel kind of situation. You really have to, do what you want and what makes you feel better and stuff. And so yeah, music really just like brings a lot of great stuff to me into my life. And um I mean, it's not for nothing. It's not for lack of effort or like, you gotta we've been putting a lot of effort into it. And it's like I said, when I was a kid, I kind of was a little bit more timid and wouldn't really like, put myself out there and ask questions and stuff. And it's like through music and through trying to kind of get us out there, I've had to put myself out there. I've had to, push myself to talk to people, to get people to tell me no, because then the yeses are so much sweeter, and it's like I didn't know that what that was like. I didn't know that that was a real feeling and, something that, was achievable, and to just kind of like push through the noise to make stuff happen for yourself. It's like, who cares about people telling you no? Because if, you do it enough, somebody's going to say yes, and it's like that might be the one yes that you were really looking for. So I just love music so much. I'm super like grateful for the people I've met and the experiences I've had. And, I studied marketing in college, and I could have kind of really went through with that. And that's helped me too with some stuff and promoting myself. And so I've definitely kind of, had some things that I still use, but it's like I could be at a job where I'm being paid well, but I might not be necessarily like super happy because I'm, complacent, and I'm like, in this job that I might hate, but it's serving me, in my life, in my 9 to 5, in my, you know, uh, just kind of like boilerplate like way of life, and I kind of don't want that. I don't want to sit still and I mean I got crazy ADHD, so I always be moving all over the place. But it's like so music kind of is a good thing because I feel like I can just kind of be all over the place and do a lot of stuff, and I can get good at a lot of stuff, and without music too, I wouldn't have um like shot any music videos or directed any music videos or like edited a bunch of videos and stuff. And it's like I do a lot of stuff that I wouldn't get to do, or not maybe not get to do, but like maybe have like the real opportunity to do, you know? So I love music and I love what it's, given to me. And so yeah, I think music is the best thing ever.
Well, I agree with you there. And yeah, I 100% agree with your point of like we can do other things like job wise and whatever. It's like I can like if all that mattered to me was like getting something that was going to pay me a good salary, like I can go and do that. But like you said, like that's like soul crushing in a lot of ways. Like it's not fulfilling in your own like vocational right. Like it just is a time sucker, but a paycheck payer, I guess. And so it's like, I think, like, obviously different people have different priorities, but I'm like, I would rather, like, do the thing that I'm gonna enjoy doing rather than do the thing that's, like, maybe gonna pay me more decently. I mean, like, maybe, like, it's just, and like you said, there's so much community and there's a lot of value to I do appreciate the like you have to get all these no's to get a yes because like I feel like if I were to just get like the first yes that I like really wanted, I'm like, did I really like work for this or did this just like happen? Like I feel like the no's make the yes so much better.
Yeah.
So,
Expect maybe too if you got that first yes that it's gonna be like super easy all the like time.
yeah, right. Well, that's how, yeah, I mean, it's just then it's like, and it's, great that that yes came, but like, then you're not prepared for all the no's the next time around. So, no, it's just, I mean, it's a really special thing to get to be a part of and get to do and like not without, the cost and the time and the extra energy that, maybe doesn't pay off automatically, but will eventually. I feel like everything has to. So, but yeah, I mean, it's what's the word or the phrase that they use? The labor of love. That's what I was going for. Like it's, it's the best things are worth the harder trials, it's it wouldn't be that great or that sweet if it was just handed to you, right? It's you gotta it's part of the enjoyment of anything is like the work and the time and the investment that you put in to make it happen and to be able to say that like you did this thing.
Definitely. Yeah, it's like the same thing with like songwriting or like I mean anything with the band. It's like the more time and effort and the like the like minutia of all of this stuff is really cool. Like getting into the nitty-gritty and like really getting into a song or like me and my bass player, we've been working on fixing up a cab our buddy gave me from the 80s. And I was like, I'm gonna redo this whole thing. I'm gonna take the Tolex off. I'm gonna put new speakers on. And he's a carpenter, so he was like, I have tools and stuff and I can help you. And I was like, dude, hell yeah, come on over. So we just like kind of have been hand scraping and kind of like taking all these pieces off to kind of make this cab really nice. And he was like, dude, I had a really good time. That was really fun. Like I really loved just getting into and like doing all that stuff. And it's like that is the fun stuff, just getting in and hand scraping gunk off of some wood, with your friends is fun, I mean, it's like kind of because the end goal or like the end product is going to be what you're, and what you're looking for. And it's like the more you put into it, the more energy and the more love you put into it, the like the more fruitful. it'll be.
100%. Yeah, no, and yeah, 100%. Um, I think on that note, that brings us to the end of this episode of the Why Music podcast. You can check back again next week for another conversation with another independent artist. Thanks for listening.
Bye.